Welcome back, everyone. It's Ilana. I'm here with my friend.
Hey, this is Jason.
And you're listening to Ex Post Watcho, where we talk about films that we have seen in the past. We rewatch them and see if they hold up. Right off the top, if you are not following us on Facebook or Instagram yet, if you could give us a follow at Ex Post Watcho, that would be great. You can keep up to date with our episodes. We post some stupid shit on there too, which you might find funny if you like listening to us. And you can always give us a shout at xpostwatcho@gmail.com. So this week we are talking about a Christmas classic. I don't know anyone who hasn't seen this movie. We're going to be doing Home Alone. Jason, have you seen Home Alone?
Yeah, it's been forever. I'm pretty sure I saw this movie when it came out in theaters.
And never since then?
I've seen it since. I definitely saw it a couple times. But I mean, I cannot remember the last time, which probably means I would have been like a fairly young kid.
Yeah. Well, we don't watch it every year in my home, but we definitely watch it if it's on TV. It's usually on TV a lot around this time of year. So this is not one that we're super bonkers for in my house, but we really do enjoy it. It is obviously Macaulay Culkin as a young boy. His family is going away for Christmas, and after a bit of madness in the home in the morning, he's left by himself. So it's this very young kid navigating, living alone for a while as his family realizes what has happened and tries to get back to them. Catherine O'Hara, obviously huge right now because of Schitt's Creek. Much beloved Canadian comedic actor. I love her so much. Plays his mom, and they're trying to get back home to him. But to make matters even kookier, Harry and Marv, Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern are trying to break into the home, and they're robbers, they're thieves, and Macaulay Culkin has to
violently assault them for 90 minutes.
He's got to keep them away. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what there is to say about this movie. 1990. It's a classic. I think it's so fun. I'm expecting to giggle through all of it because it's so sweet as well. There's so many memorable moments, which I'm not going to talk about right now, because I don't want to remind you of them if you have forgotten about them. I want you to listen and watch with the fresh eyes and fresh ears and just enjoy it. Because I think this is super well written and it's well directed. John Hughes wrote this, which I actually did not know until earlier today. Obviously, John Hughes wrote Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Curly Sue, Uncle Buck, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, National Lampoon's Vacation, Beethoven movies, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He directed a bunch of those too.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's great at what he does in this movie, I think stands on its own amongst all of those picks. And then Chris Columbus, not to be confused with Christopher Columbus, directed this. He did a couple of the Harry Potter movies, Adventures in Babysitting, Mrs. Doubtfire. So I think this is a real classic 90s kind of feel to it. Those two guys really...
Those are heavy hitters.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. I think this is a really well-managed movie. Just a good family movie, too. Like, I think it's really wholesome and sweet, which I really appreciate, especially around the holidays.
Have you looked at the box office numbers for this?
I haven't, no.
This movie had a budget, and this is the film was originally meant to be distributed by Warner Brothers, but was transferred to 20th Century Fox when Hughes exceeded the $10 million limit that had been imposed on the film's budget by Warner. Oh, okay, good job, Warner. The movie went on to make $477 million in 1990.
Wow,
that's ridiculous.
That's wild. I'm a little speechless. Yeah, that's so cool. I think this is such a staple for so many people our age. Like, we were kind of around the right age to be watching movies that weren't cartoons when this came out.
I think Macaulay Culkin is like our age. He's like just slightly older than us.
He is 40 because he...
Oh, he's way older than us then.
He's way older than us. We're just babies, fresh newborns compared to him. Yeah. He recently tweeted or something. He's like, hey, want to feel old? I'm 40. So that's been making the rounds online. So, yeah, this kind of blew up for him. I think this was his very first movie. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. And then obviously Joe Pesci, we just talked about Goodfellas last week.
I suspect playing the same character.
Yeah.
Daniel Stern. What happened to Daniel Stern? Like, I remember him in the 90s, and then he kind of just disappeared. I hope he's doing okay. No, he's still alive. Actually, I'm looking at a picture of him from 2014. He looks like an older Daniel Stern. He looks good. I like it.
Big Daniel Stern fan?
No, he's just got this giant beard. So he just kind of like, it's just Daniel Stern, but older with a fucking huge beard, which
the beard's just gotten bigger and he's just aged a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anything else you want to say before we go ahead and watch it, but I don't think this is going to be, I don't anticipate we're going to be talking about the cinematography. I think it's going to be more about how fun this is and
whatever
and
Rube
back
Goldberg
memories.
Contraptions Macaulay Culkin comes up with.
Exactly. Okay, well, let's go watch Home Alone and we'll be back to talk about it in a second. Okay, we're back. We have just watched Home Alone. Jason, how was your viewing experience?
It was good. This, like I said before, been forever since I've seen this. Like I'm almost certain the last time I saw it, I was a child and hadn't seen it since. It was good. It's this movie is a classic. People really like it. I understand why. It's very pleasant. It's a very pleasant. It's funny. It's not like over. It's not hilarious. Like I wasn't like dying laughing. But it's just very enjoyable. It's nice, nostalgic 80s. I know it came out in 1990. That's the 80s. Let's be real. It has that John Hughes vibe to it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I had a good time watching it.
Yeah, I think like saying it's just a very pleasant movie really nails it. It's really wholesome, which I really like. And I feel like a lot of even kids movies now, or movies meant for younger people now, there's a lot in there for the parents, which is funny and it's clever. But I don't know I guess I don't watch a lot of kids movies now, but I don't remember the last time that I saw just like a really wholesome family movie, like a more contemporary one. So yeah, I really enjoyed this too. If people for some reason have not seen this movie, which is bananas to me, the basic plot is this big family. One of the parents' siblings has recently moved to France, so they're going to go there for the holidays. There are 15 people in the house. It's just chaos leading up to Christmas. And Joe Pesci, Harry, is that his name?
There's Harry and Marv. I can't tell you which is which.
Harry is Joe Pesci. So he comes in as a police officer kind of to scope the place out. The family leaves. But poor little Kevin, who's Macaulay Culkin, was sent to the attic, I guess. Banished to give enough room for all of his visiting relatives, I guess. And they take off the next day and forget Kevin. And then it's about the mom getting home to Kevin, and Kevin protecting the house, being the man of the house, as he says, against these two burglars, Marv and Harry, who are Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci. So, and there's all kinds of hijinks along the way. Interesting characters.
I was expecting. My memory of this movie was like the last act, basically, which is all the like hijinks, the contraptions. And I didn't realize, like watching it, I was like, when is that part going to happen? And it's like, it's the last half hour. It's kind of funny that that's the part that stuck with me. But like pretty much everything before that, almost all of it, I kind of forgot.
I do remember some of it, especially as watching, it was really coming back to me. But yeah, I agree. Like, I thought he spent the majority of the movie like planning all of his booby traps and these guys trying to get into the house. But yeah, you're right. The last 30 minutes, all of that just happens all at once. And that is what I remembered mostly as well. But we start off with, this house. First of all, let's talk about this house, because I noticed you also made a note about this. This is the most insano house I've ever seen. It is a full Christmas house. The floors, the walls, the wallpaper, the towels, the furniture, the blankets, the fucking telephone. Everything is red and green and white. Everything. It's like they are Christmas. They're like living in the North Pole. It's nuts. I mean, even the kids, they're not dressed like in Christmas clothes, but they have like a lot of reds and greens on. I was like, really?
I kind of wonder if, so I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole on YouTube. So this is a real house where they filmed it. Like, it was all filmed at this house, in the house, outside of it. People still like go to it. It's a huge popular thing for people to go like take pictures in front of and stuff like that. I think the people who live there now, I don't know if it's the original owners, but like, I don't think they're very happy about it. And I saw an interesting video. There was this couple that lived across the street, and they still live there. And when the movie was being filmed, they had a video camera, and they were just filming like every day, like bits and pieces of it. And they, so there's this like little documentary they made. I don't know if it's available publicly or if it's just like they put it together for themselves. It was a news report I was watching, and like, this crew showed up and made this movie, and they're like, oh, cool, let's film it. And then, it eventually comes out and it becomes this like massive success and becomes a huge cultural, landmark. I wonder if the interior of it, how much they like, did they put that wallpaper up, or was it already like that? Because that was the thing that stuck out to me, other than the house being just so damn big, was like, what is going on with that wallpaper? Yeah,
I feel like, first of all, okay, I have a question. Is this house actually in Chicago?
I believe it is. It's not Chicago. I'm Googling Home Alone filming location. I'm not sure if it's a suburb of Chicago or just another town in Illinois. It has a different name. Yeah.
Okay. I loved the Chicago, like intense Chicago accents on just some of the characters. I really love that. But yeah, I'm curious as well. I mean, this was the late 80s, I guess it would have been shot in the late 80s. And things were really ugly back then. So maybe this is the way this house looked. But woof.
Yeah.
Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, that line, that people love saying that line, but also like woof just as a phrase. Like, I've been using that for a long time. And like, I think I picked that up just from culture. And I think culture got it from Home Alone.
So good.
Okay, it was filmed in Winnetka, Illinois, which is 25 kilometers north of downtown Chicago. So it's like Chicago metro area.
Oh, yeah, that's what else I was going to say. I don't think like homes in general in the States are as expensive as they are in most parts of Canada, from what I know. Like, my mom usually goes down to the States at least once a year for like this dance convention and stuff. And they were, I realized that there's like an exchange rate and all of that, but their cab driver was taking them on a little tour. I think this was in Nashville or New Orleans. Anyway, someplace south. And there were these huge homes, and they were like, wow, like, how much does a home like that cost somebody? He's like, oh, like $300,000. And they were like, what the fuck? Because $300,000 here does not buy you a humongous home. Like, those kinds of homes they were looking at would be worth at least $1 million, $2 million here. So I don't know if it's always been like that, or like if it was just like from the recession that this is what I don't know enough about economics or U.S. history or anything like that. But I feel like I always see humongous houses in, like, the disparity between the rich and the poor seems so much greater there as well. So I feel like I always see American movies with huge homes, and it's just like, we're middle class. We're just like regular middle class people, which that does not look like that here. So I feel like that's always jarring as well. I mean, it's a movie and it's all elevated too, but I don't think it's that outrageous.
I think part of that is like a tendency of movies to just like, movies are not, and television don't typically portray like working class or like lower middle class people. Like every story is like, you know, it's in a nice house, you know, like you don't see a lot of like super dumpy houses. I mean, this house, this looks like, you know, it costs like $3 million. If that house was where we live, like, you know, I suspect this would cost a fortune, because it's like 2 stories and like 12 bedrooms or some shit.
Yeah.
Got a giant basement, a giant attic.
A giant basement with an evil furnace.
The scary furnace. Okay, that is definitely something I identified with. Not like there wasn't a furnace in particular that scared me, but just that sort of like going down to the basement is scary, and you do your business and you sprint out of there when you're done.
Yes, absolutely. I loved how this furnace also, it sounded like the oil blob from Fern Gully a little bit. Like it was just like blah, 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 blah. Okay, so anyway, this Christmas house is insane. Family's getting ready to go to France. Everything is chaos. Kevin is adorable. Obviously, we all know Macaulay Culkin is adorable, but seems like super exhausting. And everyone's just so annoyed by him.
I want to dispute that.
Oh.
So the movie kind of like telegraphs or tells you that Kevin is like annoying and like he doesn't know how to pack, and his sister says she calls him le incompetent, which is great. And he kind of like, you know, gets a bit mad at dinner because like his brother is teasing him, bullying him. He snaps and he pushes him, and then like everything goes wrong. But like, I don't know. I didn't think he was like that annoying. I see, you know, you got that many kids, like I'm sure they're all shitty in different ways. Buzz is probably an asshole. Oh,
Buzz is for sure an asshole. I feel like all of these kids are dicks, and Kevin's super sweet, but I think he does seem a little bit exhausting in the sense that like he seems like he needs a lot of attention. There's a billion kids and people just don't have the time for it, which is sad. I don't mean he's like an annoying child necessarily. I think I just said he was an annoying child. They are clearly annoyed with Kevin.
Yes, they are. Yes, that is true. But like they're assholes. Like his siblings are all assholes because he's like, I don't know how to pack. What do I do? And then like the sisters are like, oh my God. And they like refuse to help him. Like it's not a very, you know.
The sisters and the brother, and they use the best 90s insults are the best. Like they call him, or he calls one of his brothers puke. Then they call him phlegmwad.
Oh yeah.
And one of his brothers tells him, you're such a disease.
When you know what, when he is like, you know, so he gets sent upstairs by his mom and he's basically like, fuck all y'all, you can all go to hell and die, exact quote. He's right, or you know, like I'm like, yeah, I kind of get it, like you're getting a raw deal. And I think like the mom, I like Catherine O'Hara, she's great in this. She's kind of mean there. She's just like, go to your room, shut the door, don't fucking talk to us. Like it's like,
she's like, I don't want to see you for the rest of the night.
Yeah, it's just so like brutal. So like, you know, I mean that's what this movie is like, you know, family getting mad at each other and then going through an experience that makes them like, oops, we love each other. But I just like, I felt for Kevin. Kevin did nothing wrong.
I agree. Kevin is just being an adorable, curious child who wants to be a part of things. But like, there's a million people at the house. I think they say there are 15 people there. It's so chaotic that, okay, the scene in the kitchen. First of all, they ordered 10 pizzas and it cost them $122.50. Could you imagine being able to buy 10 pizzas now for $122.50? $12 a pizza? That big?
That actually seems...
That's nuts.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What does a pizza cost?
Oh my God. Sometimes pizzas will cost you like $30.
Okay, I say that having ordered a pizza last night because of this movie, but I had a Domino's free pizza coming to me, so it technically only cost me the tip.
You know what? If you're ordering like Domino's or something like that, those are cheaper. No hate to Domino's. I'll eat a full Domino's pizza.
I will not have Domino's disrespected on this podcast.
No. Domino's gets shit on too often. I will not be a part of that. But this was Little Nero's Pizza, I think. This was like a true mom and pop Italian pizza place. And they had sausage and pepperoni and olives and onions. As Kevin was saying, he just wanted cheese. Those are premium toppings, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we got to do some inflation calculation here because, like, you got to remember it was, 1990, $122. That is, wait, what? Oh, that would cost $211 in today's money. That's Canadian dollars. That feels
fair. That feels fair. But it was like that was my whole reaction was like, damn, remember when things weren't as expensive? I was not buying anything for myself in 1990. But like, even he buys all that shit tons of groceries and like $19.
Yeah, that one definitely. Like, I go to the grocery store, buy nothing, and it's like $100. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yes, one bag, you walk out of there. Oh my God. Sometimes not even a bag. You can fit it in your pockets. Anyway,
we're literally doing the old people talking about what a candy bar used to cost bit.
It's shocking. It truly is. Anyway, okay. So when Kevin snaps and everything goes nutso in the kitchen, that was some premium directing because there were so many moving parts in that scene. And I thought they did it so well. And also a lot of them are younger, like they're kids or they're youth. So I was like, that was great. I loved that moment. And I thought everybody's great in this movie too. Like they all played it so well.
Yeah. I like, one of the kids is named Fuller.
Yeah.
And that is Kieran Culkin. That is Macaulay Culkin's younger brother. I
was wondering if that was him. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't catch that at the time, but they do one shot where they're like, don't drink the Pepsi so fast, and he's just like plowing down this Pepsi and then just like smiles. It's really funny. That was good kid acting.
It was really cute. I also like the uncle.
The uncle's great. Look what you did, you little jerk. And when he's like on the airplane and he's like, take that, steal that.
Yeah. He's like, top it up, fill it, the champagne. He's so good.
Like the second he gets on the airplane, like, champagne, it's free, right?
And he's such a dick, like when she finally realizes like that iconic moment when she's like, Kevin! And he's like, if it makes you feel better, like, I left my reading glasses. He's great.
Just trying to help.
Also great is the neighbor, old man Marley, which they peer out the window at, and they're like, oh my God, this guy like murdered his family and
the shovel
keeps the
slayer.
Bodies. Yeah. He keeps the bodies in the same bin. He keeps the salt for the sidewalks. That was so real because kids are so full of shit. Like, do you know those kids in your neighborhood that would be like, that window down there? That's the room where a little girl was murdered. Now her ghost comes out and like tells you all kinds of bullshit that like, you're like, does this have 1 ounce of truth to it?
Yeah. Okay. I like the old man bit and where they go with it. The one thing I will say is it does kind of one of those movie things where like it doesn't like, Kevin encounters this guy throughout the movie and he's scared of him, and then eventually he like learns he's a nice old man. But yeah. The way the old man behaves in every scene is like, is he trying to scare the kid? Because he's always just like just stone faced staring at him and like doesn't say, like, he could have just been like, hi. I bet if he said hi it would have been fine.
I feel like that's probably just Kevin's perspective of Mr. Marley.
Yeah, okay.
That's what we're supposed to consider it as, I think.
I would like to say those boots are fucking awesome. They're kind of interesting because like they show a shot later on where like the boots step into the picture and you see them and they're like, they look like they're like biker boots or something. Like they're like black leather with like straps. Like I expected the camera to pan up and it's like some goth guy, on ecstasy at a nightclub or something.
Yeah. Yeah, they were pretty intense. I don't know what kind of boots those, and they were very tall. Like they went up to almost his knees. They were no joke.
Throw those on and listen to some trance while sucking on a pacifier.
Oh my God. Okay, so we get all the setup. Kevin's banished to the attic.
They throw his ticket out. They show that really quick. Like when they're like, Yeah, yeah. When they're like, everything gets spilled and the dad's like, get the passports, we gotta get the milk off of them or whatever. And he has a wad of paper that he throws into the garbage can, and you see that it's a ticket and it says Kevin. You see it for like half a second. Like, it's really, because I saw it and I was like, wait, was that a ticket? And then I went back and rewinded it and I was like, oh, it's a ticket that says Kevin on it. But like,
I was wondering why I did notice that they lingered on the garbage can for some reason. And I was like, why? But I didn't pick up on that. Okay. So that adds to all of this. I feel like all these little things that happen, they're kind of cute in that, like, they're nicely pulled together to make it make more sense for like why this family doesn't actually realize that they don't have one of their kids with them.
Yeah, they do establish that really well. Like, it is believable how you get to the airport and are missing a kid.
Yes. Yes. One thing that was not believable for me was, okay, so the morning after all of this chaos, they're supposed to be up they're supposed to leave the house at 8 a.m. sharp. And they were doing that like real dad thing of like, we're leaving at 8 a.m., like right on the dot. And literally nobody, the air shuttle shows up and they're like, well, these people told us to be here at 8 a.m. Not one of the 15 people in that house woke up before 8 a.m.
Well, okay, so the power went out, so literally every alarm would have gone out because there's no cell phone alarms then. Yeah. So you are dependent on just people naturally waking up. And
yeah, but okay, even I wake up before 8 a.m. sometimes. That's unbelievable to me that first of all, kids tend to wake up really early, like the young ones. Teenagers, maybe not. But parents, usually people who clearly have great jobs to be able to afford a house like this, would be waking up and at work maybe by 7 a.m. Why are they all so tired?
It's the holidays. They've been sleeping in. Their sleep schedule is all messed up.
They're full up on all that pizza and milk. Ooh.
Yeah, they drank grown-up eggnog the night before and they're sleeping it off.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, they're getting everybody rounded up. Round up. They round everyone up. The neighbor kid, who's fucking hilarious, comes over.
So, okay, that kid is great. I love that kid. Like, he's just he's this annoying kid who just asks nonstop, questions, and he's very funny. That's one of those things that I think this movie does really well. Is there's so many just little characters that you see for like one scene or like maybe a couple that are, like funny, or they just, I don't know, they're little characters that you see for like a minute and then they're gone for the rest of the movie, but they just like work for that moment where they need to be. I think like this kid is the first one of those.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think everyone feels very much like they are a full person, not just like a device to move the plot along.
I mean, this kid definitely is a device to move the plot along.
Absolutely.
But like he does act the way like the kid, it's the kid from across the street that we know, and he's showing up and being nosy. Like, and that also that is so, what happens is like they're counting heads and he's there and he's, the same age as Macaulay Culkin and he's turned around, so oops, they count him. That's clever. That's a really clever way to sort of like execute that.
Yeah, with the frustrated oldest sibling who has to round up her siblings and the cousins and deal with Buzz being annoying.
So I just like to say when they get to the airport, that's a throwback. Seeing people get on, the flight leaves in 45 minutes. Like if you're like, oh, the flight leaves in 3 hours and the airport is 10 minutes away, we're not making that flight. You're not catching the flight.
That's
you need
very
to be
true.
Fucking strip searched and rectally probed before you can do anything.
Especially in the States.
Yeah.
That's very true. Just even airports right now feels 10 million years away. So
yeah,
making
I bet it takes even longer now.
Oh my God. So yeah, they get on the plane. I like how the parents are all flying first class and the kids get in coach. Good for them. So this is really when things kick off. I love that moment where Kevin wakes up. I love just the little details, like his hair's all, sticking up all over the place, and he's exploring the whole house. And that moment where he's like, I made my family disappear. And then all these little images of his family being total dicks to him.
Incompetent.
Yeah. And then he's like, I made my family disappear. And his little, montage of him just going nutso all over the house.
Yeah, he's eating ice cream. He's dancing around, watching movies. Yeah. Okay, it's funny that like they set it up earlier where like Fred is watching a movie and they're like, you can't watch it because it's too grown up. And then he watches it and it's just, it's this gangster movie. And he's like, after a scene, he screams mom because he's scared. And I'm like, Kevin, come on. Like that wasn't even, I've been scared of movies as a kid, but you need to fucking toughen up. Because that was not scary.
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah. Be a man, Kevin.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? This movie is Kevin becoming a man.
It is. He even says, I've got to be the man of this house and protect my home.
Castle doctrine.
So the movie is called Angels with Filthy Souls. It is used so many times, more times than I remember. Although I do remember so many of those lines like, I'm going to give you till the count of 10 to get out of here. 1, 2, 10. Keep the change, you filthy animal. So good. And as you pointed out in your notes, not a real movie.
Not a real movie, which apparently a lot of people didn't know. There was a big thing on Twitter a couple years ago where Seth Rogen was like, what? It's not real. Yeah, I think they did a good job of making a fake old movie. I'm not an expert in that genre, but I buy it. I guess the thing that does make it a bit suspicious is just how perfectly the dialogue works to be chopped up for this movie and the scenes. Like, okay, this is where it's like, come on, like you're not actually gonna pull this off, having fake conversations with your paused videotape, but it's fun. It's a great bit. I
love this. Yeah. And one of my favorite scenes growing up watching this and still makes me laugh is the pizza delivery scene where the guy comes and he's like, leave it at the door. And when the gunshots go off and he's like tripping over everything and running out of there. And then they do the exact same bit in the exact same spot with Marv. Obviously he doesn't have a pizza. But he uses the firecrackers that time. It's like the exact same bit. It works. It works for me. I still laugh.
And another great bit character, that pizza boy. I love him.
Yeah, I love him too. When he first shows up and he's like, somebody's got to pay me, man.
You have to pay, sir. That's what he says to Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, he's so good.
And that statue that keeps getting knocked over. That's great.
Yeah, all this little details. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's such an 80s, 90s thing. I feel like this movie would be animated today if this was made today.
The whole house would be CGI. Just one, all filmed on green screen. Have they talked about rebooting this?
I hope not.
I think they have. I may be like misremembering this. Hold on. Home Alone reboot. Let's just like get depressed now. Oh yeah, they're talking about it. Oh Jesus, Home Alone upcoming film. Well, fuck.
Who's in charge of this?
Directed by Dan Mazer.
The fuck?
I don't know who that is. Kenan Thompson is in it. I like him.
I like Kenan Thompson.
I don't think he's the one who's Home Alone. He's a little old for that. Rob Delaney, Ellie Kemper. Okay.
I mean, those are good people.
It doesn't need to happen. It just doesn't need to happen.
Rob Mazer did the Borat movies.
Well, we'll see what direction this goes.
It doesn't need to happen. There are so many screenwriters out there trying to get their original works read and produced, and they keep doing this shit, and it makes me so angry. And it's never as good.
But you know what? Like, that's the thing, though, is if that is a title that everyone knows and loves, like, you're guaranteed to at least make a certain amount of bank with it, and which is why this keeps happening.
I agree, but it just is so frustrating. And it's clear that they really target these, like, people our age now have kids. I mean, not us, blah, but people our age have kids that are on average the age of kids that movie would be directed at. So, of course, a lot of people from our generation are going to go, oh, that was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. Let's all go see this remake. And
let's go watch a shittier version.
They need to stop. Just fucking stop. Anyway. Okay. So Kevin's on the air or parents are on the airplane. Mom, who always knows, she's like, I forgot something. And then she realizes it's Kevin. And in the meantime, Marv and Harry are trying to rob the place. They realize it's not empty. They're like, what's going on? We thought this was in the bag. We had this in the bag. And this is when Kevin decides he needs to be a man of the house. Meanwhile, Mom is calling the police station in Chicago, which I thought was one of the funniest bits in the movie. And she keeps getting transferred to different people. People are like, what is your kid being abused, exposed to someone like under the influence? She's like, no, he's just like home alone. And they're like, I like when the police transfer to the like family crisis center, which is just the cubicle over. And he's like, hyper on 2, like hyper lady on line 2. And I think this also doesn't really make as much sense watching it today, because this would never happen in 2020 with the way we're all connected. Like, Mom would just text Kevin or something and be like,
yeah, I mean, there's the whole scene when they land in France and they're like in the airport and they're like, you know, she has to like get some woman off of a payphone so that she can call home. Yeah, it's totally, I guess that maybe that. Okay, now I'm this curious. My fingers are just barely apart to see how they manage all of that in the realm of, you know, perpetual communication.
Yeah.
An EMP was deployed at the McAllister house and all electronics have been fried.
It's really strange. Like, are they going to space? Maybe this is set in the future.
Kevin accidentally gets shot to space. Called Home Alone in Space.
Lost in Space. There was a Home Alone 2 Lost in New York.
Ah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so then we have a bunch of just Kevin being a little rascal. The classic aftershave moment, which I have a question about.
I have thoughts about this.
So Kevin is in the bathroom going through his morning routine, puts aftershave on his hands, obviously puts it up to his face. I have never shaved my face. If you have not shaved your face and you put aftershave on it, why would it burn? Would it burn?
No, it would not burn.
Okay.
Fucking immersion destroyed by this plot detail. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he shaved like the way I would expect. Like, you know, he'd do a thing where like he would shave even though he doesn't need to, but they don't show it. So yeah, it kind of doesn't make sense. But that bit with the hands on the face is like iconic. Like that is like the Home Alone image.
Yes. Maybe he's just like, that's how his dad puts his aftershave on. And so he thinks that's how it goes.
Dad is just a huge baby. The dad,
toxic masculinity.
I just want to say the dad, I don't know what else he's been in, but I know him from The Sopranos, where he plays like a cop who Tony Soprano basically kind of has in his pocket for whatever reason, probably gambling debts or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he's just like this sort of miserable, but like really kind of funny, sarcastic guy. So I really like him as that. And it's sort of weird seeing him in this just as like healthy, normal family man.
Yeah. I will say one thing about this family. At the airport, Mom decides, like, because the woman at the counter who works for the airline tells them, well, miss, you can stay in the airport if you want. There may be cancellation. And the whole family's like, fucking bye. Everybody else takes off and leaves Catherine O'Hara alone at the airport. Nobody even stays and waits with her. What?
I think that was the right choice.
Oh my God. If I was the mother of like 10 billion kids and my husband and his brother and his brother's wife and all the kids, 9 children, 10 children, were like, okay, bye, see ya, and left me alone at the airport in France. I'm assuming they're in Paris. I'd be pissed. I'd be like, someone should stay with me. I don't speak French. She clearly didn't speak French.
Yeah, but you're in France at that point, so like you may as well go be in France and see the Eiffel Tower and the
so
baguettes.
Now Mom can't see all those. Mom's the only one who noticed Kevin was gone. Mom's got to save the day all by herself because everyone else, I guess that's what being a mom is.
So okay, so what if Dad was the one to stay in the airport? Would that be okay if he was the only one?
No, someone should stay with them.
I guess. Yeah. I mean,
one person out of 13 other people could have stayed with her.
Yeah, she kind of has to go on her own little journey there too. So
Yeah, I'm sure
adventure.
there's great fucking croissants at the France airport. People could, like,
But why make... Okay, you don't want to have the whole family in the airport because that's just a waste.
No.
Like, you just spent $1 bajillion to fly to France. So,
No. But like oldest sister or like the husband. Well, the husband, okay, I can understand like maybe the husband's going with the kids. But maybe like the brother-in-law or the sister-in-law, someone stay.
Brother-in-law's
Or
not
one of the
staying.
kids.
No fucking
Yeah,
way
no.
that guy's staying.
Maybe sister-in-law or one of the kids. Someone in that family should have had their mom's back. That's all I'm saying. Poor Catherine O'Hara, she got it done, but I'm just saying how thoughtless of the family. How selfish. And if I was a mom of fucking 1 billion kids and all of them were like, peace, Ma, we got to go see the Eiffel Tower. Instead of help you get back to our baby brother who's stuck at home.
But what can they do? I mean, I guess they can keep her company. That's it.
Yeah, it's to help support her. Help her find a way home.
Then
they can hail a cab and go see the Eiffel Tower.
The other funny thing is like they do all, the big moment at the end is like, hey, the whole family's back. So like everybody goes back, which seems kind of silly. Like they could have just like, look, mom's going to go home and make sure everything's okay. Why does everyone else have to come back?
They want to be together for Christmas.
You spent so much money to go to France.
I don't think money is like a barrier for this family.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I'm just thinking about like normal people. What do these people do for work?
I do want to know that. It seems like perhaps somebody is some sort of wardrobe, clothing, fashion designer, because there are an unusual amount of mannequins kicking around the home for just like an average family. Maybe this is an American thing.
Everyone in the States has at least like 1 or 2 mannequins in their basement.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anyway, I just think it was unreasonable that the mother should have to get home on her own, at least be stuck in the airport on her own. Someone could have just lent her a hand.
I'm imagining you meeting Catherine O'Hara someday and like explaining all of this to her. She's just looking at you like,
If I ever meet her, that's what I'm gonna use my time not to ask her anything interesting or profound.
You were treated
what do you feel
very
about
unfairly by your family in Home Alone. That make you feel?
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, she's great in this. She's great in everything. She's perfection in everything she does, I think. Okay, so also what happens when Kevin's at the house, which I hated, and I hate this bit throughout the whole movie, is this fucking spider. No fucking thank you. It's little fucking tip taps on the floor.
You know what? I kind of thought it was cute. I like this spider.
Yeah.
I don't like spiders. They scare me and they're freaky, but I don't know. For some reason, this one seems okay.
There was a moment at the end when it kind of got flopped over when it was on Joe Pesci, and I was like, that's kind of cute. And then as soon as it got back on its feet, I was like, no. Yeah. Every time it showed up, I feel like I'm jumping out of my skin. It's a good bit. I think it's funny and it works, but I truly hate it. Anyway, then Kevin goes out to buy a toothbrush. And why? What happened to his toothbrush? In 2 days, his toothbrush? Come on.
Yeah, okay, so I will say this whole section kind of like, I mean, it's fine, but it was probably the one part that I was like, why is this in here? Because he goes to the drugstore and he says, like, he comes up with a toothbrush and says, is this approved by the American Dental Association? That's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's cute.
And then like the shovel slayer guy comes in and he gets real spooked. Again, this is one of those moments where like the old guy just stares at him. Like,
and he puts his bloody hand on the counter like, blah.
Yeah. And then so Kevin gets spooked and like runs out of the store with a toothbrush. And then like there's a cop giving a guy a ticket and they yell shoplifter and the cop's like, I guess I'll go chase this child. And then there's a little chase scene.
This stressed me out because Kevin like slid on his knees across an entire skating rink. In the meantime, people are like, wee! And they've got their like blades off the ice.
Oh no.
And they're doing turns. And I was like, oh my God, this could easily turn into like a bloody mess.
Turn into like a Clint Malarchuk situation. There was that goalie like in the 70s that got his neck cut with a skate, and it was like
Jesus,
terrifying. It's one of the most Go pause this podcast, go on YouTube.
Did he live?
Yeah, he lived. He's fine. Look up Clint Malarchuk. Like, a guy crashed the net, and then, like, all of a sudden, he's, like, grabbing his neck, and, like, blood is just, like, flying out. Yeah, skates don't fuck around.
No. There's, like, that show that's, like, Dancing with the Stars, but it's, like, I think it's Stars. No, not Stars on Ice. That used to be an old skate. Anyway, it's like Dancing with the Stars where they pair up, like, celebrities with skating professionals, like athletes. And I'm like, no, what? Like, I could see Dancing with the Stars, fine. What do you do? Roll your ankle, maybe? Fine. The blades are involved in this. Like, what? Anyway, I was really stressed watching this scene. It doesn't last that long, but I didn't like it.
Then he's bummed. He's like, I'm a criminal. This is kind of where Kevin's starting to realize that, like, maybe being on your own is not as fun as you thought. I mean, this really is like, you know, a child's understanding of how the world works, where he's like, my family's gone. Everything is great, you know, in this house. Yeah. I have all my needs met. Yeah. You know, eventually, like, that's not going to last forever. Yeah,
I feel really kind of bad for him starting around here too, and he just gets thrown into it because these two crooks are leaving his neighbor's home. The moment when the van almost hits him, his face is so good. It's such a cute moment. Have I already said this? Macaulay Culkin has graduated from the Winona Ryder School of Face Acting.
I saw that in your notes.
Like, his faces are so much in this. They're so cute. The sort of physical comedy, I think, is really funny in this because kids eat that stuff up. This really is a kids movie. But yeah, he's like, oh, wow, I can't trust strangers in a van. This is his moment. He's only 8.
Yeah, well, like, Joe Pesci, like, smiles at him and his teeth goes bling. The little gold tooth of his shines, and he's like, oh shit.
Oh shit, it's the police officer.
That guy's a cop. I should run.
Yeah, that Joe Pesci, like, Harry is his character's name. He's sincerely menacing in moments in this, I found.
You know what's funny is, like, we just did Goodfellas. This is week 2 of our Joe Pesci theme podcast. That's what we're doing from now on. We're going to do, what is it, My Cousin Vinny next. But having just seen him in Goodfellas, where he's, like, sociopathic, he comes across as, like, so charming and, like, lovable in this. I was like, oh, like, it's sweet Joe. I mean, I've seen Joe Pesci in, like, I don't know how many movies, not a lot actually. Right. Like, I know he's been in a bunch of movies, but, like, you know, Goodfellas and Casino, where he basically plays the same character, and this, and I'm like, wow, Joe Pesci can be a nice person.
He's pretty scary though. Like, I feel like, Daniel Stern's character, Marv, is kind of the goof, you know, he's kind of an idiot. And Joe Pesci's, I love how he plays, like, his annoyance with Marv as well. But I think and when I was a kid, I thought he was pretty scary. Like, I think it does raise the stakes for Kevin because, like, this man is actually dangerous. And there are moments when they're trying to get into the house where I'm like, oh shit, what are they going to do to this boy? Like, if they get in.
Yeah, by the end, they're, like, going after Kevin. Like, it's not about stealing the stuff anymore. They, you know, they're going to go murder him, presumably.
Yeah. Oh, anyway. So Kevin realizes that, like, this is serious. These guys aren't who they maybe appear to be. And he really realizes people are coming to burglarize their home, I guess. And one of my favorite little moments is the little shadow party.
Yeah.
That he has.
That again is a very, like, that's something I distinctly remember with all the mannequins, and he's, like, operating them with strings, and then he's got Michael Jordan cut out, you know, on a little model train rolling by. Yeah, that was great.
Love it. Right. And then he goes to the grocery store again. I realized they were trying to, like, get rid of some of the food in the kitchen, but there surely must be some food in that kitchen. And, like, he's getting, like, laundry detergent and stuff.
Why is
like,
he doing
do they
laundry?
Not keep it?
It's been, like, a day. Is his clothes dirty already?
Yeah.
He soiled himself while watching the gangster movie. I gotta say though,
Angels with filthy souls.
There is like part of this movie is like Kevin, like, you know, he's like, I'm alone, I'm a man now, and he's like learning to do things and feeling proud about himself. I sometimes still feel that way myself for like the most pathetic of accomplishments. Like a couple weeks ago, I changed the headlights on my car after like having one headlight for about a year. And it took me about 2 hours because it was like way harder than it should be with my particular car. And by the end, I was so proud. I was just like, I can do anything. I'm a man now.
At 36.
Yeah.
Finally. Yeah, I mean, it is cute. It's kind of funny when he goes to the grocery store. I love that moment where he's like, how are these microwave meals? And the lady's like, I've never had them. He's like, I'll give them a whirl.
Again, that's what I say to the cashier. I'm thinking of trying one of these microwavable dinners.
It's really cute. Like, Macaulay Culkin really does carry this movie well. I have more memory of Marv and Harry. Like, I think as we were saying, like, we both, for some reason, thought that the last 30 minutes of this movie was the movie. But Macaulay Culkin really carries a lot of this on his own. And he's so good. He's so adorable. I love him so much in this.
Yep, there's a reason he was a star. I like the cashier again in this scene. Another like, you know, short bit character. She looks familiar. I feel like she's from either the John Hughes movie scene or like Second City or something like that.
Right.
But you know, like, yeah, she's just asking all these questions. Where are your parents? Why? Where are your brothers and sisters? And he's, you know, giving her answers. And then he walks home and his bags rip and he's deflated.
That's a very relatable moment as well. Who among us has not experienced that?
So I watched a YouTube clip of made very recently, and it was like these guys that went to all the different filming locations, and they were kind of like, the way they filmed it was like they sort of recreated little bits like that. So they have this guy, this grown man with the bag of groceries, and they all explode on him. And the way he had to do it was like, you could tell the bag was like cut and maybe taped together or something, and he sort of like, you know, sort of shakes it with his hand to like make it break. And I was like, oh yeah, you'd have to do that, huh? But then when I watched the clip of Kevin doing it, the bag just disintegrates. And I'm like, that was expertly done. However they did that. How did they make that bag break like that?
Wow. Home Alone, great effects.
Yeah. Again, fucking CGI in the new one.
Oh yeah, so then they try to get into his place again, and this is when the second pizza or second round of the movie clip happens, because Marv is freaked out and he's like, dude, there's guys in there and they've got guns, and he's like, some guy named Snakes. And he's like, who's Snakes? We got to find out who Snakes is.
Do we know him?
That was cute too. And then I totally forgot John Candy was in this. He shows up with his polka group and this is so great. Offers mom a ride home.
After like fucking 5 minutes of like explaining like, oh yeah, have you heard of us? We've got a band and blah, blah, blah. And we sold, 200 copies and stuff. And she's just looking at him like, get to the fucking point.
He's so sweet.
Yeah. John Candy's great. Like just generally, but yeah, he's nice in this. It was nice to see him. I love
this is just before she gets home, but when he's talking about like, don't worry about it. Like, you're a good mom. Like, one time we left our kid at the funeral parlor and he's okay. And she's like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, he was okay after like 6-7 weeks. Once he started talking again, it's just trying to comfort her and it's not helping. But I loved those little moments between the two of them as well. So anyway, Marv and Harry are planning to return again. Meanwhile, Kevin goes to Santa's house, little workshop, catches not the real Santa, but one of his workers. And it's actually such a sweet moment. I don't really remember this moment. As soon as it started happening, I was like, oh no, is this going to be some like angry jerk who's going to be like, get out of here, kid? But it was so sweet.
Yeah, no, that was a good bit. I mean, I think of all the like throwaway characters or little scene characters. I love this guy because like they really just kind of I don't know. I feel like I know this person. I can understand exactly what his deal is because he's got this shitty car and like, he walks up to him and he's like smoking a cigarette. And then like as soon as Kevin shows up, he like tosses it out and throws his beard up. And then, Kevin is like, I like Kevin because he's kind of like, he's sort of doing this thing where he's like, I know I'm a kid, but I'm actually, really smart. But still you are looking at it like, no, you are still really a kid. Because he's like, I know how it works. You're not really Santa, but you work for him. So can you tell him, I need help? Yeah,
it's so sweet. He also goes to the church. Do we know why he goes to the church?
I don't know. And maybe he just kind of, I think at this point in the movie, he's like starting to actually miss his family. Like, I think this is the point where he's like, he's sort of been a little bit defeated as time goes on, just with like, the toothbrush thing. He's like, I'm a criminal. Like he actually feels, bad about that. And like,
he's going for absolution.
Yeah. He's going to go confess. I don't know. I think maybe it's starting to hit him that his family isn't there and he shouldn't have fucking wished them to the cornfields like that kid in the Twilight Zone. And he meets old man Shovel there. And that's a really nice scene. I really like that.
Yeah, I like that scene too. It's an interesting scene because, especially in movies, you don't see grown-ups talk to children on their, like, it's often that they talk down to children or that they're teaching the children a lesson, or if they're being taught a lesson, it's very indirectly. But Kevin's really counseling Mr. Marley here. It's adorable. I love Mr. Marley.
Yeah, it really is like I don't know, like a learning moment for both of them. Like he's kind of giving him old man advice. Well, I mean, Kevin is sort of, one lesson he's learning is like the old man with the shovel isn't a murderer. Like don't believe everything you see. Talk to people, learn about them, stuff like that. And then the old man kind of tells him like his story. And I had a big fight with my son, and the only way I can see my granddaughter is here, and blah blah blah. And then Kevin is the wisdom of idiot children, saying like, just why don't you just talk to him, and give some actual good life advice that like pays off at the end. We get a little shot of the family kind of reconciling.
Oh my god, it's the second time I started losing my mind watching this. And then,
there's a funny bit of dialogue where Kevin is talking about like, I think he says like, I got a sweater or something like that. And the old man's like, oh, that's nice. And he's like, no, you can get beat up for wearing something like that. I had a friend who got nailed because there was a rumor he wore dinosaur pajamas. I love that.
It's pretty cute. I feel like watching this as a kid, it's very relatable, or maybe, I don't know if it still is for kids, but it was at the time. But watching it as an adult is so, with this perspective of like how adorable kids are, which I've always liked kids. I've never been one of those people who's been like, I hate kids. I love kids. They're the best. But as like a real grown woman now who's got nieces and who spends more time with kids, like a lot of my friends have kids, I'm like, oh, fuck, kids are the fucking best. They're so weird. And then for some, I don't really... Okay, so he knows he has to get home because Marv and Harry are going to try to get in. And the bells start ringing. I love how dramatic this part of the movie is. Like, Carol of the Bells starts playing, and then there's like this kind of remix, and he's just like running through the streets.
Yeah, he runs home and okay, I did think it was funny because when he runs in the door when he gets home, I don't think he unlocks it. Like, I swear that door was totally unlocked.
Yes. Yeah.
And then he busts out, now we get into the big, the action sequence, the slapstick part of the movie.
And I was shocked at how quickly Kevin put this together. Again, like, I thought that this was taking place throughout the majority of the movie. He just like booby traps this place like a fucking pro.
Yeah, he within seconds he just rolls out this like, hand drawn with crayons like diagram of all the traps he's going to do in the house, and you see him start to put it together. And I swear, the soundtrack, there is a sound, the Mission Impossible theme. It goes like, it kind of starts with that little thing and then it goes into the theme. That little sound shows up in the soundtrack as he's like setting things up. I think it's when he's setting up the rope to go from the house to the treehouse. Oh. And I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking it, but it kind of felt like that was a little bit of an homage or nod there in the score.
Interesting. When did the Mission Impossible movies start?
Well, the movies came out later, but like it was based on a TV series that had been around for a long time.
Is that from the 60s?
Something like that. Yeah, 60s, 70s.
Before my time.
Although I don't know. I know the theme song was the same in that old one, at least the main part of it, but I don't know if it was exactly the same. So this may just be a coincidence that...
I hope not.
I like to think it was a little touch there.
A little nod. I really, really loved the score.
When that music started playing at the beginning, I don't think I had heard any of the Home Alone music in forever, but as soon as that music started playing, I swear it just like lit up some part of my brain that remembered it.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, he's getting all of his booby traps together, and then we really blast through all of the pain Marv and Harry go through. So very quickly.
My thought while watching this, there was a few moments where I was like, okay, fuck whatever remake is coming out now. What I want is David Cronenberg's Home Alone, and just lean into the body horror. Because the part where Harry almost steps on a nail, or Marv, whichever one, Daniel Stern,
Marv,
like they cut it like right as his foot touches the nail, so like it doesn't get. But I was like, is that going to go right through his fucking foot? Is this going to be like The Faculty with the pen through the hand?
There are moments of this that were really upsetting to me as a kid and still really get to me. One of them is that nail to the foot. One of them is the hot door handle when he looks at his hand and
it's all messed up.
Yeah. And the other one is the glass ornaments on the floor when he's just barefoot and crunching all of those glass ornaments. Like, I was just cringing through all of that.
The glass ornaments, okay, that is something where, like, I think this only makes sense in the movie being a scripted thing, because, like, if he's wearing shoes, that's not a problem, you know? And, you know, the fact that he's not wearing shoes is because he got all tarred up in the earlier scene.
Yeah.
I like the flamethrower to the head. That was definitely, like, Joe Pesci getting his head lit on fire. Very iconic imagery that I still remember. As well as, like, Daniel Stern sticking his head through the doggy door.
Yes. Yeah. I like the paint buckets too on string.
Yeah.
Up the stairs. Hello. Yeah, it's also good. And then the spider. That scream that Daniel Stern gives feels real in that moment. Yeah, I also love the moment where Marv is like trying to kill the spider and just like Joe Pesci's giving him this look like, Marv, he's like, what's happening? Like he has no idea. He's just over him with this crowbar. And then I love that moment when he gets up and he's like, how do you like it, you jerk? And he's like, he's hitting him with it. I love that sort of like, I don't know. It's just like Pinky in the Brain. I think they're so funny.
Yeah.
And they're really not in it that much. Like when I think of this movie, I think of Macaulay Culkin and these two, and their screen time is not huge, not enormous amount of time.
Yeah, I was expecting like more of Daniel Stern, really, more than anything. Like Joe Pesci, of those two, you know, he gets a lot of like dialogue and you know, he gets a big chunk at the beginning when he's like pretending to be a cop and stuff like that. Daniel Stern, I like him. I think he does really good in this. Like I like his performance, but like he doesn't really do or say much. He only has a handful of lines, and then, you know, then there's the big scene at the end where they're both doing like physical comedy. What'd you think of Joe Pesci's like angry noises when he's hurt? Ooh, yeah.
I love it. I was like, this is so out of control. But again, like I feel like I can see and hear kids laughing at this. Like kids think this kind of stuff is so funny. So I think it really, really works. And it made me giggle just because it was so out of control, and it's clearly directed more at like making the kids who are watching this really crack up and enjoy these. And I think, you know, you're talking about Daniel Stern, like not being in it that much. I think that he was kind of the favorite of a lot of kids. Whereas now as an adult, I appreciate maybe Joe Pesci's character a little bit more and was laughing more at him. But yeah, I'd be curious to actually go back and count how many lines Daniel Stern actually has. But yeah, I also really remembered his character Marv from this. And like a lot of my friends thought Marv was so funny. But yeah, he barely says a thing.
Yeah, I think I just was expecting more of those two and definitely more of Marv.
Yeah.
I am curious, actually, the sequel, what that's like if they are a bit more prominent in it. I don't remember how that works.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a really long time. Seen it definitely not as often as Home Alone. So, also Trump's in it.
Donald Trump is in it. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Barf.
Okay, I have a question. Why? What the fuck are they doing when they go and there's that rope that goes from the house to the treehouse, and they're like, we have to get the kid. Let's climb this rope. Like, that was stupid. They were being very dumb there.
I also don't believe that Joe Pesci could make it with his body type.
What? Because he's short?
I just feel like he's a stocky guy. That takes a lot of upper body strength to dangle on a rope and get yourself across a whole yard.
It's a very difficult task, but I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
No hate on Joe Pesci, but like he wasn't like 21 when he did this movie, right?
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know if he's known for his upper body strength, but I would probably put money against him being able to make it.
No confidence in Joe Pesci. You're just short discriminating here.
Not at all. I just said nothing about his height. He's just stocky.
That means
like
short.
he's not like a really thin, like little, feather of a man.
Yeah,
he's like
Daniel Stern is like
him.
slender, so maybe you think he can do it.
Yeah, maybe. But also maybe his arms are noodles. I don't know. I don't think either one of these fools could make it across. This part was insane.
Even if you're in good shape, that's still a pain in the ass. And it would take a good minute of like shuffling across. So yeah, I mean, that was something that was in the script so that Kevin could cut the rope and then they into the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, like physics wise, also like how that really works. Or if that would work quite the same way, but I mean, it was funny, I guess. It was fine.
Yeah, so Kevin runs to like the house next door or across the street or something, which is being flooded because the wet bandits, their calling card, which is really Marv's whole thing, is flooding the sinks. That's the part that actually made them. I got angry as a homeowner. I was like, "You guys are psychos. That's terrible."
It is awful. Joe Pesci's not into it though.
That's
Harry
true.
Was like,
He's like,
"What the fuck are you doing?"
Even he was like, "Why would you do that? That's terrible."
Yeah.
And of course, like the payoff at the end is like the cops are like, "Now we know which ones you robbed because you did that stupid thing with the water."
Yeah. They in the house. Well, I guess Mr. Marley comes in and saves the day with a shovel.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Then they take these guys away.
It wasn't his house, right?
No, I think it was across the street, the annoying kid's house, because they went to Florida.
Right. Okay. So why was he there? That didn't make sense to me.
Maybe he saw Kevin and these fools running across the street, and he was like, "Yeah-oh.
Something's going on."
Yeah, because probably Mr. Marley had noticed everyone else left, but there was a big party. I think he had his eye out for Kevin.
Yeah, that's true. He might have figured out something was up.
Yeah.
Maybe he could have gone the extra step and tried to contact the family or something like that, but or waited in the airport.
Or like checked in once he heard firecrackers going off inside the house. Maybe he's hard of hearing.
Could be. But he saves the day. I will say the moment where I actually did find the bandits a little bit scary is when they catch Kevin and they like hang him up on the door and you're like, "Oh, you're in trouble now." That actually is like, "Oh."
Yeah, I was genuinely worried about Kevin for a while. Like Pesci was going to do this guy in. Kevin is not a made man. They can do whatever they want.
Nothing we can do about it.
So yeah, I guess Kevin goes home. Mr. Marley goes his own way. If I were Mr. Marley, I'd probably be like, "Why don't you come and stay at my place and I will watch over you since you're 8. But Kevin goes home alone. And he says he really wants his family back when he went to go see Santa Claus. So I'm assuming it's Christmas Day because he wakes up, goes downstairs, thinks his family's going to be there, and they're not. And it's quite sad. And then his mother gets out of the U-Haul truck. That was a bit confusing to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're all in the back of the U-Haul driving across the country or whatever. Like when they're driving and like the whole band is playing, they're just sitting in the back of a U-Haul, which is like can't do that.
Is that a thing people did or do?
I guarantee it's not a thing you can do now, or certainly it's not legal. I mean, I bet maybe some people do it.
All those polka bands, that's how those polka bands used to get across the country. I love that moment where he's like on his clarinet and he's like, give it a try.
Yeah,
She's like, no. Yeah, so anyway, mom comes in. I cried. This was like I did not remember this movie as being like quite an emotional experience for me, but I had a really emotional experience at the end of this movie. I lost it when mom came home. And then, of course, the whole family comes in, whatever. And the joke is like, she left early, and they all left. She
kind of went through all of that
Friday.
for nothing.
Yeah, because they all got home at the same time. Again, this would never happen today because everybody would be texting constantly and would know exactly where everyone is at all times.
The parents would be in prison for child abandonment.
Exactly. And then this was kind of a weird moment. We see Kevin kind of peering as if he's right next to a window. He's way across the house, and the drapes or the sort of fabric is covering the window, and he's like, and he walks basically across the entire house as if he has seen what he is about to see from that distance, which was a bit weird and bad editing. But the other moment I lost my fucking mind is when we see Mr. Marley reuniting with his family. Whew. And then you see Mr. Marley just look at Kevin. Mr. Marley's eyes. I don't know who this man is, but I need to watch everything he's done before because that man did more acting just in that moment than some people do in an entire film. Lost my mind.
Yeah, that was really good casting for that character. He's believable as just, a kind old man, who's seen some things, and but also he does look scary enough, for those early scenes when he's just walking down the street with his shovel and looks at Kevin.
He's just taking care of the neighborhood. Again, just a good man, taking care of people. I like that they didn't take this and go hardcore gonzo Christmas on this, because they could have made some sort of Santa Claus situation with Mr. Marley. And when he first showed up, I was like, is that where this goes?
Well, he's actually Santa Claus?
Yeah. That
would have been really dumb. Because we know that the guy who gave him Tic Tacs earlier is actually Santa Claus.
One of Santa Claus's helpers.
No, he's really Santa.
Works for, you think?
I believe. I want to believe.
So also something that made me laugh at the end was so Kevin has clearly somehow managed to clean this whole house. I like to believe Mr. Marley helped him with this, because how does an 8-year-old clean tar off of the stairs?
Yeah, that's the thing I was thinking is okay, so the parents come home and then does Kevin explain well, these people were trying to, because it all gets wrapped up before the family gets home. So, but then the house is trashed, the tar on the steps and
Buzz's shelves.
To be fair, Buzz is like, Kevin, what did you do to my room? So he did,
I missed that.
Yeah, he yells something, basically saying what the hell did you do to my room? And then the dad finds
crying too hard.
Joe Pesci's tooth on the ground, which is funny.
Yeah, that was weird to me. It was the rest of the house, the main floor looks immaculate from what we can see. It looks like he's cleaned up all of his ice cream and chip crumbs and pizza boxes and all of that. But one gold tooth just in the middle of this perfectly clean floor.
Script needed it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of the end of the movie. It wraps up pretty quickly. It's pretty sweet. I don't know.
That's Home Alone. Yeah.
That's Home Alone. Yeah. Cute movie. I don't know who hasn't seen this movie, but if you haven't, I think it's 100% worth your time. If you have seen it and you're like, I don't know, should I give it another watch? I say yes. I think it's just wholesome. It's sweet. It's a good Christmas movie. Kids of any age can watch this. I think anybody of any age will find it charming. Great performances. Christmas music. But they don't go too hardcore on the Christmas stuff. I love it.
It's a secular Christmas movie. Yeah, I like this. I wasn't, well, when we talked about it in the first chunk, you told me it was written by John Hughes and directed by another guy who has done a bunch of stuff.
Chris Columbus.
Yeah, and that quality really shows that these are like people who have made 80s comedy family movies, a bunch of times. And it does it really well. So I just found it a really, I don't know, pleasant. I didn't write a lot of notes during it. I was kind of like a little bit worried going into this because I find like a lot of movies I want to have like real big thoughts about like, ooh, the characters and what this all means. But I was just kind of like just watching it and enjoying it and just enjoying the hour and 40 minutes and the sort of world it creates and the whole vibe of it. It was good. I'm kind of interested in seeing the second one just because I want to know how that one works.
Yeah. And I think we're all home alone this Christmas. So
we have Zoom.
That's true. And cell phones.
Do you think they're going to work Zoom calls into the shitty remake?
Oh, God. I don't know. I saw a meme the other day that was like about all of the new fringe theater shows that are just going to be like one woman shows or one man shows about COVID-19. And everyone's like, don't do it. Just don't. We know. We don't want to relive that experience.
Art is going to be like terrible for several years after this.
It's if it survives.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that really uplifting note, I'm going to give this movie, you know what? For what it is, I'm going to give this movie a 10 out of 10 gold teeth.
I mean, I think this movie is like perfect for what it is. I'm going to give it an 8 just in the sense of like how much I kind of feel like watching it again. I'm going to give it 8 cute fuzzy spiders out of 10.
Oh, God. All right. Well, horrifying note to leave on. Go watch it. Merry Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, I hope it is not as lonely as Kevin's.
If you don't celebrate Christmas, you can't watch this movie.
Yeah, you're banned.
Those are the rules. I'm sorry.
Those are the rules in this war on Christmas.
The war on Christmas is real, okay?
I do not share these thoughts, just to be clear to anybody listening.
You can email us at expostwatcho@gmail.com.
And send your angry comments to Jason on our Instagram and Facebook or on YouTube at expostwatcho. Next week, we are going to be watching another, I'm going to air quote this, holiday classic, Die Hard. So cuddle up on the couch with your own self or whoever you happen to be in a bubble with and watch Die Hard in anticipation of next week's episode. Take care. Ho, ho, ho. Ta-ta.